What's going on, gardeners? On today's video, I want to address a mistake that will instantly ruin your garden, that millions of gardeners make that they don't even realize they are committing. And unfortunately, right now, the stars are aligning for this to be one of the worst years ever. So on today's video, I want to explain to you what this critical mistake is, why I think it's going to be so bad this year, and how you can avoid it so it doesn't happen to you.
If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and check out my Amazon store and Spreadshop links in the video description for everything I use in my garden and awesome custom apparel and gear.
As you can tell by my dress, it is absolutely freezing out. Here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina, we almost never get this cold, and the next 2 weeks are going to set historical records across the country. In fact, this is going to go down as one of the coldest and snowiest winters in the east and the central plains in quite a while, and this is unfortunately going to have a massive ripple effect that's going to carry through the season and destroy millions of gardens. And for you to understand why, I want to tell you a story about how I think many gardeners approach a new season. The holidays end, we enter into January, and it's the coldest, darkest, dreariest point of the year. And the darkness and the cold, it just sucks the life out of us. We just don't feel like going outside. And as a result, gardening is one of the furthest things from our minds. So we're not really thinking about it, and we're not really preparing for the new gardening season. It's not until we get the first taste of prolonged warmth that usually hits us in a wave in late winter or early spring that we finally start getting triggered into wanting to go outside again. We see that warm weather, we start drooling over the thought of spring, and then we get into gardening mode. So we do things like order seeds, and we start our seeds for the new growing season. That's the motivation that finally gets us to wake up from our winter dormancy. But there's a problem. In our minds, we forgot to account for the 6 to 10 weeks it takes for seeds to germinate and to grow into mature transplants. So now we're already behind the 8 ball, so we have to rush everything. We wind up starting our cool crops and our warm season crops at the exact same time, and a lot of the crops, if not all of the crops, tend to be running a couple of weeks behind. Finally, spring arrives and we are in full-blown gardening mode, and at this point, one of two things happen. Either our seedlings are a little bit behind and we just have to wait for them to catch up, or we just chalk it up to, well, our seedlings are just going to be too late, so we'll go out and we'll just buy transplants at this point. Now, we have all of these transplants that have to go out into our garden at the exact same time, and you may even have direct sow work that you have to do as well, like direct sow carrots, beets, peas, and other things like that. So our fun, relaxing gardening hobby now becomes stressful because we have to plant everything all at once. And to make things even more stressful, because we transplanted everything out at the exact same time, we have all of this work to do. Because we went from having basically no garden to now having dozens or maybe hundreds of plants that we have to tend to. And because we can't give all of these plants the attention they need, they're getting picked off by insects, by rabbits, they are being underwatered or overwatered because we had too many plants that went out all at the same time than we can manage. Now everything is just completely out of whack and mistimed. We put our broccoli and cabbage transplants in the same time we put in our tomatoes and peppers. So what happens? Spring seems to turn into summer overnight, and all of our cool season crops that need to mature in the cool weather wind up failing on us. We get poor heading, we get things that bolt and go to seed, so much of our cool season crops wind up being a total loss. So we have to fall back on our summer crops like our tomatoes, peppers, and squash, which are several weeks behind. But finally, it happens. Our warm summer crops start producing. But there is another problem. They're all producing at once. We went from a garden that was giving us absolutely no harvest to now avalanches of harvests. And we have more tomatoes, squash, cucumbers, and peppers than we know what to do with. We're flooded with them. We can't process them or eat them fast enough. So we wind up giving a whole bunch of our harvests away to coworkers, families, neighbors. We did all that work and we aren't really reaping the benefits. But unfortunately for us, even those harvests are short-lived. They only lasted a few weeks because now it's too hot and humid. Now there's insects, there's squash bugs, there's leaf-footed bugs, there's stink bugs, there's vine borers, there's pickle worms, and they're all coming in and ruining our harvests. And to make things worse, it's coinciding with thunderstorm season and humidity season, so our tomatoes are cracking and splitting, everything's getting blight and other fungal diseases, so that brief window that we had where everything was coming in and we were getting big harvests, well, that window is quickly narrowing and now all the plants are suffering. So by the end of the season, our cool season garden was basically a total bust. We had 3 or 4 great weeks of production for our summer crops, but then the humidity and the rain and the bugs came in and wrecked the rest of our plants. So we just throw up our hands and we say, well, I guess our garden is done for the year. It was nice while it lasted. This is the unfortunate story that I see of so many hobbyist backyard gardeners. They view gardening as a seasonal activity, and because of this, they wait until they are in the mood to be outside and it's comfortable for them to get their plants going. And unfortunately, if we wait until the weather is good for us humans to be outside, we are already too late and our harvests wind up suffering. Now that I explained all of that, here is why I think we are going to have an epidemic of failed gardens this year. We as humans seem to naturally operate on a 2, 3, 4 week delay relative to where our plants want to be. So we already tend to operate behind the 8 ball, and we have to hope and pray for good weather and a mild spring and a mild summer in order to get our plants through and have a good harvest. Well, I think this year is going to be a major problem because we are having such a wicked mid to late January into February. Because we are operating here in the Central Plains and the East Coast so vastly below average, moving forward, worse than I've ever seen in at least the last decade, I think that is going to make that typical 2, 3, 4 week delay that we operate on be even worse. It's going to be a 4, 5, or 6 week delay this year. Everybody is going to be so far behind the 8 ball because it looks so cold for the foreseeable future that people are going to be hibernating and lying dormant even longer than usual. I'm already starting to see this effect showing up in the data. As a content creator, I'm constantly searching through trends so I can bring you relevant content based on what you want to see at this time of the year. So I like using the website Google Trends to remind me of what you all want to see at any given time. And what I'm noticing is a big drop-off in interest of gardening, and surprise, surprise, it's perfectly following the weather. If we track from Christmas into early January this year, well, the East Coast and the Central Plains had a massive warm-up. And as you can see in the data, the interest in gardening spiked like crazy, and it coincided perfectly with that abnormal warm front. But then what happened? The bottom dropped out completely. And by the end of January, the interest in gardening was half of what it was after the first week or two in January. And this is a little bit troubling to see because people shouldn't be less interested in gardening at the end of January than in the beginning of January. Your interest should go up as the seasons progress towards spring, but we're seeing the opposite effect happen. As the weather crashes and it gets really cold, they're sliding back into hibernation and dormancy. So let this video serve as a warning to you. We already tend to operate a couple of weeks behind. This year, the data does not look good, and it looks like we're going to be even further behind than usual. So I want you to use this video to snap you out of this slump. Now that I've identified the problem, I'm going to share with you how to fix it so you don't make this catastrophic garden mistake and ruin your season before it starts. The first thing I want you to do is completely ignore the weather today. I don't care how cold it is in January and February. I don't care if the next few weeks are going to be 10, 20 degrees below average. It does not matter. I want you to start your seeds now or on your normal schedule, maybe even a week early, because the temperatures inside of your house don't care. They don't change. Get your seedlings started because you're not going to bring them out for another 6 to 10 weeks anyway. So the weather today, or even the weather next month, is totally irrelevant. Just assume that June, July, and August are going to be as hot and wet and buggy as they normally are, so you want to get your plants out before you start getting a lot of those humidity and heat related problems. Don't let this cold snap deter you from moving forward. The second thing I want you to do is, if you haven't started seeds for your cool season crops, I want you to start them now, or at least this weekend, whenever you get spare time over the course of this week. And that is because it is way easier to protect your cool crops from cold weather than it is from heat. Heat is the bigger threat. So if you like growing broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cabbage, onions, and things like that, and you haven't started them from seed yet, you are already falling way behind. I'll link to a video both above and down in the video description that will show you how to start these things from seed, but I really want you to get these ready because it's better to get them out 2 weeks early than 2 weeks late. Everything you see growing in these garden beds right here have gone through 4 nights at 18 degrees, and there is plenty more cold where that came from, and all you need is a simple agricultural fabric over them to protect them, because it's actually the hard frost formation that does most of the damage. So you can see all of this beautiful cabbage in here, completely unharmed from the cold. You have all of these beautiful onions and shallots growing, and there's also escarole right here. There is this absolutely beautiful bok choy. Look at that. You have mustard greens, every color of the rainbow. And look at this monster head of broccoli. It is just perfect. And in this bed right here, I have many different varieties of kale and Brussels sprouts. Look how beautiful all of this is in here. Again, 18 degrees, no problem, underneath this agricultural fabric cover. So let that show you, you should not be waiting until it warms up to get these crops out into your garden, because one 80-degree day is going to do more damage than a series of 18-degree nights as long as you have some cover over it. I'll place a link both above and down in the video description that'll show you how to build one of these easy, cheap PVC hoop houses in about 30 minutes. But as soon as your nights are comfortably going to be above 20, that's when you should put out these transplants under cover. And the frost cover will protect them from hard frost formation. It's more important to get them out when it's cold and beat the heat for maturity. But I also want you to do this to lessen the stress at transplant time. I don't want you to be so stressed out because you have to transplant every single vegetable in your garden all at once. I want you to transplant out all of your cool crops at least a month or more before your warm crops. That way you can stagger all this work you have to do and you don't get overwhelmed. It's awful to have to transplant hundreds of crops all at once when you work a full-time job. But if you can stagger out the planting, which you should be able to do, not only are you going to have much better harvest, but it's going to be so much more fun and it's going to be so much less stressful. And the last thing I want you to do is to learn how to succession plant. Please stop planting your entire garden out in one single wave, because not only is that so much work up front, but it's the worst way to get harvest, because you go from none at all to all the harvests in the world that you can't do anything with because it's too much, and then they all go away again. Instead, what you should be doing is starting your seeds in various waves and planting them out a little bit at a time to stagger your harvest. Grow things so you have early harvests, medium season harvests, and late season harvests. Don't start all of your seeds all at once. Stagger them. For example, every single year I start a couple of early season determinate tomatoes 6 weeks early, all the way around Christmas time, in order to plant them out into containers about a month or a month and a half before my last frost date. And then I simply leave the containers outside if it's going to be mild at night, or I carry them inside if there is a frost or freeze risk. And as such, I wind up getting tomato harvest over a month early. I extend my growing season. Then I do the exact same thing. I'll start some late season tomatoes to put in containers that I can actually carry in all the way until Christmas, and that allows me to extend my harvest all the way into the fall as well. Don't plant them all in one wave. When it comes to things like cucumbers and zucchini, well, they grow quickly and they die quickly. You can't keep a cucumber or a squash plant alive all season long. The bugs get them and they just die too fast. They germinate in only about 3 days. They are mature transplants in only about 3 weeks, and they fruit in about 45 days. So I simply sow fresh plants every 4 to 6 weeks. And when my old ones get tired, I don't sit there and try to spray them. I just rip them out and I replace them with new ones. And this allows me to have fresh, young, vibrant plants that are constantly producing from May all the way until frost, and I never have to fight these old, nasty, dying vines. When it comes to things like beets, carrots, and radishes, it does you no good to have an entire garden bed mature all at the same time. You can't use all of that food at once. Instead, come out every week or two and just stick your finger in the ground and put in 6 new radish seeds, or 10 new beet seeds, or just take your finger and drag it across your garden soil for 2 feet and sow 2 feet's worth of carrots. And just do that every 2 weeks or so. That way you'll constantly have things in different levels of maturity that doesn't overwhelm you in either the planting or the harvesting, and you can more efficiently get your harvest in the same amount of space. So I wanted to make this video because I've been doing this long enough to recognize patterns, and I realized we're going to have a major problem on our hands this season. So I wanted to bring this to your attention and identify the problem so you can work towards a solution, get out ahead of it, realizing what's coming our way, and hopefully I gave you some tips and tricks in this video that will help you better utilize your space and better maximize your harvest while not being so overwhelmed when spring finally hits because you feel like you have to do everything in your garden at once. If you get an early enough jump with the crops that don't mind going out early, it can dramatically reduce your workload once the spring hits, and chances are you'll have better quality harvest because things will start producing in your garden before it gets too hot or the insect and humidity pressure becomes more than you can handle. It's already been a rough enough winter. I have my trees locked down like Fort Knox over here, and I don't think these covers are coming off anytime soon. So let's not make things worse by having the spring and summer be a bust as well. Let's get ahead of all of these problems. So everybody, I sure hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and please ring the notification bell so you're notified when I release more videos like these. For all of the products that I use most frequently in my garden, I place direct links down in the video description for your convenience. I'll put some cold protection items under there as well because it's been a wicked winter. For everything else I use in my yard and garden in real life, that's all linked in my Amazon storefront. So expand the video description, click on the Amazon storefront link, and you'll see everything I use in real life. And while you're down there, check out my website, themillennialgardener.com, for all things gardening and custom merch if you want to support my channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video. Now I need to go inside because my hands are frozen. I literally have an order line at the espresso machine today. I have an espresso going for Brittany. I have an iced latte I made for myself. And I have something frothing for a very certain someone who has been waiting patiently in line. And it is really taking its time. Yeah, baby. Look at that espresso cream right there. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Now this is done. Pull this off, clean it off, and then we have ourselves one cold foam puppuccino for a very handsome young lad. He is so good and patient. It's the best way to start a morning.